Okay, so this is interesting. It looks like the UFC offered Ilia El Matador Topuria a contender fight at lightweight against Arman Sarukian, who was supposed to fight for the belt against Makhachev in January, but unfortunately pulled out the day before because he couldn't help himself trying to impress Nina Drama and busted his back, broke his back. And, because of that, they're not giving him another title shot. So the UFC figured the fight to make could be, compensating Arman, no title shot, but give him a former featherweight champion in Ilia Topuria, and then the winner of that can fight Makhachev, like in Abu Dhabi. Honestly, it could have made perfect sense, but I kind of understand and respect Ilia Topuria's standpoint. Ilia Topuria rejected this offer, and he wants to fight Makhachev right away. He wants to bounce off of those two featherweight title wins into fighting for the lightweight belt against Makhachev. He wants to shoot straight for the top, or straight to the top, shall I say, against the pound for pound number one. And honestly, for as much as it made sense for him to, fight a contender, especially Sarukian, and as much as I get Islam's, request, I get that he wants Topuria to beat a contender first and establish himself as a legit lightweight contender before fighting him. Because, of course, Islam knows if he beats him, fans are just going to write off that win saying he just beat another featherweight. But, right now, the biggest fight you can make for both Ilia and for both Islam, it's Makhachev versus Topuria. There's options for Islam at lightweight. He can rematch Oliveira. They can still reschedule the Sarukian rematch, although Dana doesn't want to do it. Dana has said he's not going to do a lot of things, and then has meant the complete opposite. He could also fight Gaethje if Gaethje beats Hooker. Max Holloway is also there if he gets a win. But I just think Ilia fighting Islam makes the most sense. I get that fans think that Topuria should fight a contender, but here's the thing. He has a lot to lose if he fights a contender first in the lightweight division. Because then what happens if, let's say, he fights Dustin Poirier, who wants a retirement fight, and then loses to Dustin, who's going to retire? What does that do for Ilia Topuria's legacy? He'll basically have moved up to lightweight and lost for nothing. He'll have vacated that featherweight title for nothing if he moves up and loses. Same thing if he moves up and takes an Arman fight or an Oliveira fight. They're big fights, but they're risky fights and they're low reward fights. At least if he loses to the lightweight champion, he's got two options. He can move back down to featherweight and could probably get an automatic title shot at featherweight, even though he's claiming he can't make the weight anymore. I think that's cap. I just think he doesn't want to make the weight anymore. But he could. He can change his mind on the flip of a dime if he's not successful at lightweight. But he could also stay at lightweight and then start fighting contenders if he loses to the champion. Like, losing to Islam could be like a factory reset for him. You're losing to the champion. You're losing your O to the champion. And depending on how he does against Islam, if he loses but puts up a really good fight like Volkanovski did in that first fight, you can do a Ilia Topuria versus a Charles Oliveira still. Or, let's see, Ilia Topuria. I'm looking through these rankings. Okay, there we go. Lightweight. You could do a Topuria versus the winner of Gaethje Hooker if he loses to Islam Makhachev, right? But it's better for him to move up and lose to the champion than lose to a contender. And honestly, what I think, whenever a champion vacates their belt or gets stripped of their belt, I think automatically their next fight coming back should always be for a title, whether it be for the belt in their own weight class that they originally vacated or a belt in the new weight class they're moving up to. Any other fight beyond that point might just be a waste of time. It's like if John Jones fought a contender after he vacated the light heavyweight belt and then fought a heavyweight contender in a non-title fight as opposed to for the vacant title. It just wouldn't have made sense for John Jones. Now, I get that Topuria is not as established or as accomplished as John Bones Jones, but still, he's got the former champ status to his name. He's had some of the biggest wins possible that you could ever accomplish in the featherweight division. Two of the biggest names on his resume. He ended Volkanovski's long historic reign at featherweight, and he became the first man ever to knock out Max in his first and only title defense at featherweight. I think it's better for his legacy to go from beating Volk, Max, and then fighting Islam. I think those two wins honestly have earned him a fight at Islam Makhachev. And I think that fight between Islam and Topuria is a battle between two pound-for-pound greats. And if Topuria is to beat Islam Makhachev, he could potentially steal that pound-for-pound number one spot. He's got nothing to lose and everything to gain. If he fights Arman Tsarukyan, he's got a lot to lose. And I mean, he could definitely gain the number one contender spot. But then there's that what if. Like, what if he loses? So I get where Ilia is coming from. And I think they need to get over with that Topuria versus Makhachev fight. They need to get that over with right now. Book it for UFC 317, June 28th, International Fight Week. And then maybe on the same card, do Arman Tsarukyan versus Charles Oliveira, part 2 for like 5 rounds, is like maybe a 5-round co-main event. And then winner of Tsarukyan Oliveira 2 can fight the winner of Topuria versus Makhachev. I think that works perfectly, honestly. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you think that Ilia should fight a contender, or is the Makhachev fight the fight to make right now? Like and subscribe, and peace out.